A recent question posed to readers of The Guardian newspaper shows me everything I need to know about how progressive politics in the world aren't just about making things more equitable for people, they're about making things worse for you. I'm going to tell you why. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. And if this question posed by The Guardian is any indication, if you're sitting in one of the what we call legacy brand countries, you probably do want to go where you're treated best, because here's the question posed by The Guardian. Now, by the way, I go on the Guardian website every once in a while. They have some interesting stories between bashing every citizenship by investment program that ever existed and looking for the scandals and anything, scandals that often don't even exist. They go around creating a lot of mayhem. So I enjoy going on the website and always clicking no to the donate to save our journalism, their breathless pleas. I will not be giving my money to The Guardian, thank you very much. But The Guardian stands for a time when countries didn't have to be competitive. And for as much as The Guardian does wrist-wringing about people in Angola or suffering, listen, I'm actually, through our charitable efforts since I was 10 years old, contributing to people in those kinds of places. The Guardian is wringing their wrists about how difficult they are while basically propping up the fact that legacy brand countries, like where they're based, should just continue to be able to set the tax rules, set all the rules for the world, and soak up all of the capital, and you should have no choice of where you're going to go. Newsflash, Guardian, the Cold War and the fact that you had 4 countries to go to during it ended a long time ago. But that said, the Guardian's question, they put it a long-running series, as they call it, in which readers answer other readers' questions on various topics. This particular question was, how much poorer would the rich need to be to provide a basic minimum income for everyone? Now, I think we've talked about basic minimum income before. I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm not going to talk about the merits, good or bad. But I'm going to talk about the question, and I'm going to talk about the answers. How much poorer would the rich need to be? You see, the problem with what's happening in some of these legacy brand countries right now is that so many people believe it's a zero-sum game. I've met people like this all around the world. I credit my upbringing. I'll even credit some of the schooling that I received in the Midwestern United States to making me realize that as an entrepreneur or in anything else I'm doing, life is not a zero-sum game. The pie can always get bigger. We can get wealthier together. And you've seen a lot of people get wealthy. And people love, by the way, the tale of the small business. I was watching an interview with Jeff Bezos the other day, back when Amazon was a nothing compared to Walmart and others. And he was concerned. He said, I wake up every day afraid. Everyone liked Jeff Bezos back then, but until then, when Jeff Bezos revolutionizes your life and has toilet paper, delivered by drone to your door in 15 seconds, then he's too rich and then he has to be taken down. This is the nature of humanity, but I don't see it as much in other countries where I go to, where, for example, friends of mine say, I never look in someone else's pocket. That's not so much the trend anymore in the West, which is why The Guardian is able to attract a large number of answers to the question, how much poorer would people need to be? Because the goal is people should be poor in order for other people to have some money. Let me share with you some of the answers. One person answers, the answer is not a lot at all. It could be part funded from a diverse range of taxes such as consumption, pollution, corporation, capital gains, financial transactions, or income taxes, and from savings from reducing some inefficient means-tested benefits. So basically, let's just add all kinds of new taxes, consumption tax, corporate taxes, let's raise those, capital gains taxes, financial transactions, all the taxes should be raised. That's what needs to be done. The second answer, this Alessandro says, this question misses the point. Money is a measure of power. Do we want to live in a democratic state? If so, we need equality. He talks about taxing the rich. And so, I think some people misunderstand the point of the democratic state. But Alessandro says if you want to live in a democratic state, basically the rich shouldn't be able to have as much. They should be poorer. Another comment says the Liberal Democrats are considering a UBI policy. This is in the UK. And have produced a relevant policy paper for consultation. The answer indicated that for a modest £75 a week, UBI not only the rich, but everyone else over the median income would be poorer. Another comment says, depends on who you define as rich. Well, isn't that so true, right? What is rich? The politicians will change that at whim. In cities such as Vancouver, Canada, seniors who bought a house 50 to 60 years ago for peanuts find themselves wealthy on paper, however inadequate their pension may be. It's a good point. But that doesn't matter to the people who want to come and impose wealth taxes and everything else. Continuing the comments, taking away the logistics, which obviously are more complicated than just focusing on the money. When you consider it's believed it would cost $30 billion a year to end world hunger, didn't we just see that the UN said it was $6 billion a year? And Elon Musk said, I'll pay it. And then they demurred. Suddenly it wasn't. They need that $6 billion. The $6 billion a year is just the amount that they spend at five-star hotels having conferences talking about ending world hunger while drinking apple teenies at the Ritz-Carlton lobby. But the comment says it's believed it would cost about $30 billion a year to end world hunger. And last year alone in the United States, the combined net worth of the top 1% was $34 trillion. Then you'd imagine it wouldn't cost much at all to give everyone a basic income. If you want to end abject poverty, another comment says, you must first end capitalism. There's no other way. Of course, capitalism has been responsible in less than a century from reducing abject poverty from hovering above half to now below 10%. But people in legacy brand countries who have forgotten where their bread is buttered don't remember that. It's been too long since someone had to do something hard for them to have it so good. The rich wouldn't have to become poor, someone else said, but just stop becoming even richer. The 1% aren't made poor. They're just giving up 4% growth in the wealth they experienced. So basically take 4%. A similar result could be had with just a few percent tax on wealth if they could actually be made to pay it. Of course, because with these people, everything has to have a snide or a snarky remark. These are the guys who are voting. These people are in control. I mean, the studies we've talked to you about from Canada, for example, over the last year show that vast majority of people support a wealth tax. So why don't they have it yet? Final comment says, the problem is that a redistribution of existing wealth or assets might just about be as achievable as a one-off, i.e. announced without notice in order to prevent reactive asset shifting, but otherwise it could encourage the wealthy to relocate to low-tax territories. And he mentioned someone who moved to Monaco. So these are all comments from The Guardian answering the question, how much poorer would the rich need to be to provide a basic minimum income? And so, as you can see, there are a few gems in here. There's also a few people who say, no, capitalism is the problem. That's what's made their country successful. There are also people who are saying, you know what? Hey, let's take away the rich's right to become richer. Now, you might think that $1 billion or $10 billion or $100 billion, or heck, you might think $10 million is obscene. And you may be right, you may be wrong. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But what's interesting is, if you have a system that rewards people on merit, and let's be honest, places like the UK, you do have more of that. That's why people have gone there historically. Jeff Bezos did not inherit Amazon.com. Elon Musk did not inherit Tesla. And so whether you think it's obscene or not, the goal is at what point do you get to stop becoming wealthier? Again, when you see people who stop wasting all their money on dumb crap, stop going into credit card debt, stop racking up bills, stop wasting money and start putting money to savings, start buying into mutual funds, people reward that. Wow. When people become, so-called everyday millionaires, people stand up and cheer. Where is the line of the sand? And the answer is it's very murky depending on where Elizabeth Warren or AOC or The Guardian wants it to be, where people should just stop accumulating wealth. Just whatever extra you accumulate, just send it our way so we can redistribute it as we see fit. And of course, I'm all for charity. I'm a big believer for my entire life in charity. I'm not such a big believer in the government grifting. Again, when I see what happens, I would never give to the UN Food Organization or UNICEF. People come around. I've given to similar charities for years. I don't give to UNICEF. Do I trust the United Nations to use my money effectively? I've stayed at far too many of the hotels that organizations like the UN, maybe not them per se, but I've stayed at far too many of the hotels that these multilateral, multinational, whatever organizations stay at. I remember going to Moldova a couple years ago. And the taxi dropped me off. He's like, get out here. I'm like, it's February. It's like, this much snow. I'm wearing nice shoes. I'm checking into my nice hotel. And he said, no, police barrier. You got to walk like 500 meters because the agriculture commissioners of the region were all getting together for a soiree. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't they have a soiree at the Ibis? Why don't they go to that Ibis in Belgium where they have a water bar? You can try 29 different types of water. I don't want them drinking cocktails on my dime. Nor do I want them wasting the money that's supposed to go to end world hunger or, abject poverty, as is mentioned, or to give people, maybe if we cut off the graft, more of the money would actually get where it's supposed to be. We could stop talking about, people who are visionaries not getting any wealthier for being more visionary. We could do it. I'm sure Jeff Bezos wouldn't want to, but he would be, you could force him to trade, stop creating new stuff people want, and you stop getting wealthier. So, this is the problem. No one looks at the issue of the fact that, when I go to the, a nice hotel in Malaysia, I see the guy pull up in the beautiful brand new Mercedes with the flag, one of the ambassadors who pulls up and he's going to the fancy hotel for the cocktail party. And, listen, he's got to put in his 2 hours of work for the day. I mean, let's not blame him. But I say to myself, why are his country's people paying more taxes so he can go to the Ritz-Carlton, he can go to the Four Seasons? And then the issue is, well, no, the rich need to stop becoming richer. No, it's the guy who's getting out of the car where everything is paid for. He really doesn't do much. He lives in a beautiful mansion. I mean, I just bought a home in Malaysia about a year ago. Right across the street is the most beautiful mansion on sprawling grounds of one of the embassies. And I think to myself, this is not a wealthy country. They could sell this for a boatload of money and tell this guy to rent an apartment in my building and put that money back to use for their people, but they won't. And so why is it that the rich who are doing something, by and large, and especially in the country where the Guardian operates, why, people who are creating value, why do they need to, as the commenters say, just stop getting richer? Why do they need to be subject to a wealth tax? Why do they need to have the entire system of capitalism upended? Because the government is really bad at using their money. No, the answer is not to end capitalism. The answer is to reframe the question and stop legacy brand country readers who are jealous, who are envious, who have not started Amazon. By the way, how many people during the pandemic were at home watching Netflix? Do you know what people I've been talking to in the last year and a half were doing? I had a guy who called me saying, listen, I'm making millions of dollars a year trading stocks. I was doing it a little bit, but I ramped it up in March and April of 2020 when everyone was sitting at home. I learned, I honed my craft, I got in deep, and now I'm making millions of dollars a year, and now I want your help to go where I'm treated best. While everyone else was sitting on their culo watching the Tiger King, he was at home honing his craft. Others were at home building their online business. Now, they may not be Jeff Bezos, and in their country, they may not meet the criteria for a wealth tax yet. But why is it that they should be taxed more? Why is it their wealth should stop growing? Why is it they should be subject to, as one commenter said, all sorts of different taxes? Why should they have to become poorer so that other people should get money? Listen, I'm all in favor of helping people who legitimately have an issue. I don't think anyone, by and large, is arguing that if you literally cannot function, that someone should not support you. I think we should happen to do it with more charity, and I think that would work in many countries if you reduce taxes. But let's help people who genuinely do need help, for sure. But why do we need to give everyone this minimum basic income if it has to come at the expense of saying, you watch the Tiger King, you built a website that sells stuff people want, I don't understand it, but the priorities in these countries are all wrong, and that's why questions like this are being asked. Don't stop now. We've got well over 1,000 more videos here on YouTube for you to watch and learn how to go where you're treated best. And if you want to work with Nomad Capitalist personally, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, learn about our unique, tried and true process, garnered over years of experience, and learn how you can become our client.